Hi, my name is Elise, and if you just happen to be very observant and have been watching my videos and just so happen to notice my hair is shorter, it's not because I got a haircut. Well, it kind of is. It's because I cut my hair with craft scissors. We're at that part of the quarantine COVID thing in life. Yeah, craft scissor haircut. Anyways, this video is going to be LGBT recs based on the colors of the pride flag. I was looking through my Goodreads shelf and they weren't particularly colorful, so bear with me. I tried to make my recommendations pretty diverse, but I was a little limited by my idea of what this video is going to be. But I'll be providing summaries. I'll give a couple books per color, and I will tell you which each color of the flag means because they all have meanings. So just for some background, the pride flag was first made in 1978 in California, and the first color that we see today on it is red, which represents life. So for my red recommendations, I am recommending Last Night I Sang to the Monster and Proxy. So my first book, Last Night I Sang to the Monster, is by the same author as Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, which is a pretty popular book, but if you don't know that, I'll recommend it for a different color. But anyways, it's about a boy named Zach, and he's in high school and has a very rocky family life. His whole family has lots of issues. It's not good. He consumes it, and that leads to him having an alcohol problem, which then leads him to being in rehab. The story takes place in rehab, and it's basically the way he deals with all the pain and like his friendships in rehab and just learning about trust and love and all that good stuff. It's definitely very heavy. If you have read Aristotle and Dante, it's definitely heavier than that. But I did enjoy it as long as you're fine with the much heavier book. Proxy I read about 6 years ago, so I remember liking it. Don't come at me if it ends up being really bad because I was in middle school when I read it, but it's about a boy named Knox. He's a wealthy person, comes from a wealthy family, and he has this proxy named Sid. And basically in this sci-fi world, anything that the rich boy does wrong, the proxy gets punished for. I remember it being really good. Again, it's been a while, but I do own it, so might reread it. Next, for orange, I have 3 books. Well, I guess that's 6. Three books, and they are Felix Ever After, How We Fight for Our Lives, and Saints of Augustine. Felix Ever After is about a black queer trans boy living in New York, and he's about to go off to college, but he really wants to get into this nice selective college, but the issue is he has to fight for that spot with what has become his enemy rival person. I think this might be one of my most loved books this year. I loved it so much. It deals with so many different issues. There's such good representation. There's conversations about sexuality, gender, race, class, living situations, family life, all the good stuff. I would highly recommend. I think it just came out this year, but definitely one of my favorites now. So well written. There's love triangle stuff, which I usually don't like, but I thought it was well done, and I would definitely read this one if you haven't already. How We Fight for Our Lives, I think I mentioned this in my May wrap-up, but it's a memoir about a black gay man, and he talks about his experiences with those intersecting identities. It's definitely a hard-to-read book emotionally, but if you can stomach that kind of content, it's so hard-hitting and just moving, and it's such a great memoir, so I would pick that one up too. And the last book, Saints of Augustine, is about 2 boys, Charlie and Sam, who were friends for a while, but then Sam cuts Charlie out of his life for no reason, no explanation. And in the time that they aren't friends anymore, a lot goes on, lots of difficulties, lots of problems, and later on, they cross paths again, and yeah, they deal with all their problems, all their issues. It's my favorite kind of book. It's just a quiet kind of book of dealing with friendship and, like personal issues. Very small world feeling thing, but it's so touching and soft. I love it. It has probably one of the ugliest covers I've ever seen. Look at that. But a very great story inside of it. But yeah, this honestly offends me. Next is yellow, which stands for sun. If you haven't noticed, I'm actually going through these books pretty quick, but that's because I have a lot on my list and I don't want to bore you. I want you to get a little snippet of all of them because I really enjoyed all of these. I only picked books I enjoyed, so I just want you to, keep your attention so you can maybe find something you'd enjoy, because hopefully there's a lot of these you haven't heard of. But for yellow, I chose Heartstopper Volume 3. I'll get to Volume 1 for the next color, but I also chose Ask the Passengers, More Happy Than Not, The Song of Achilles, and More Than This. So Heartstopper Volume 3, I'm not going to say much because I'll talk about Volume 1. Basically, it's two gay high school boys. It's very cute. It deals with some tough issues, but not the first one as much. But the third one, anyways, the third one is my absolute favorite. So if you started Heartstopper and for some reason haven't picked up the third volume, you definitely should because it just got so much better. The next book, Ask the Passengers, is about a girl named Astrid who does not trust her parents at all. Based on the title, what the title means is she does this quirky thing where she sends her love off to strangers that are passengers on planes up above, and this is just kind of her coping method for life. And it doesn't help that she also has a secret girlfriend that's kind of, another layer to the whole not trusting her parents thing. But it's very good, and I read it a long time ago, but I would still recommend it. More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. I don't want to say too much about this because it's supposed to be like a sci-fi type thingy where you don't want to know too much going in, but basic premise is there's a kid named Aaron and he wants to get this memory alteration procedure done to forget that he's gay so he can live a straight life with his girlfriend. It's definitely YA sci-fi, and I know that doesn't always get the best rep, but it is shockingly sad and also hopeful at the end. But I remember when I read this quite a few years ago, it was my favorite book at the time. So that's definitely one I want to reread soon, and if you haven't read it, I think you should. The Song of Achilles, I'm not going to say too much on because I feel like so many people know that book, but it's based on Greek mythology, set during the Trojan War. Gay guys fall in love. Yeah. And lastly, More Than This by Patrick Ness. This is another thing where you pretty much want to know absolutely nothing about. A boy drowns and he wakes up in this strange deserted land, and he does not know what's going on, and neither does the reader. There's a lot of plot twists, but also this feeling of hope, and there's these really great flashbacks and all this stuff. It was definitely hard to get into at first because you don't know anything, but once it starts picking up, it was such a great book. It's one of my favorites. It's on that favorite shelf of Goodreads, so it's very great. The next color is green, which stands for nature. And for this color, I chose The Love and Lies of Roxana Ali, Heartstopper Volume 1, and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So for The Love and Lies of Roxana Ali, it's about a girl who kind of lives almost like a double life because she has really strict Muslim parents, but she wants to be herself and she doesn't think her parents would accept that. She has a secret girlfriend named Ariana, and while they do have a loving relationship, they get into some conflict about whether they can be out or not, but they do kind of get caught and there's lots of drama. And when I say lots, it is not the normal contemporary YA kind of drama. It gets very intense at the end. I was shocked. I was shocked that I was reading the same book by the end because it does start as a very YA-ish kind of book and then it just gets very serious. But I would highly recommend this one. I really loved it. I didn't think I was gonna love this one at first, but I just thought by the end so much had gone on and you could just feel what all the characters were feeling, and I really loved the main character, so I thought it was really well done. And it's been a while since I've read a book that was like this one. Next is Heartstopper Volume 1, and I adore this book so much. It's actually a graphic novel, and I have not read a graphic novel in so many years. This is the first graphic novel I've picked up in I don't know how long, but it was such a great story. I did not think I would like it. I thought it was just gonna be a kind of cheesy story about two guys. I guess it kind of is a cheesy story about two guys, but it's really great. It breaks so many stereotypes. The art is so well done. I love Alice Oseman, so yeah. And the characters are just so lovable. So if you haven't picked it up yet, you gotta. You will love it. And then lastly, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I don't want to say too much about this because I feel like everyone at this point has at least heard of this book, but in case you haven't, it's about a mysterious Hollywood star, Evelyn Hugo, who hires this unknown journalist, Monique, to write a biography about her life. And it's full of scandal and drama and all the good stuff. If you haven't read that one, I would put it on your to-read list. The next color is blue, which stands for harmony. And for this color, I chose Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, Broken Things, and Secret for the Mad. Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. If you haven't read this one yet, it is so great. It's practically a classic. I'm in the middle of rereading it for the third time now, and I don't usually reread books, but I have like a million post-its in it. It's maybe not for everyone. The writing is flowy, prosy, not realistic, but I think that's definitely part of the charm. It's this coming of age book about two boys, Aristotle and Dante. They're very different. Aristotle is very pessimistic and likes to see like the worst in things, and I guess he would be like an emo teen kind of dude. And then Dante comes along and totally changes his perspective. It's such a great book about like coming of age and adolescence and all the good stuff. And Aristotle's a total loner, and I love him deeply. I think I've marked every single quote in my copy. Next is Broken Things, which has one of my favorite covers ever, but it's about three girls, Mia, Bryn, and Summer, and Summer is murdered, and the two girls, Bryn and Mia, are accused of killing her. They know that they're innocent, but it's hard to prove their innocence because none of them were perfect, including Summer. I really, really loved this book. It is about three lonely, outcast middle school girls who use their imagination to make up this fake world, and they get all immersed in it. And I just felt like I've been there before. They're not very nice to each other, but they're also best friends, and it's just a very interesting dynamic that I don't think we often see in books. I don't think the characters are that likable, but that's kind of what I liked about them, because it just felt like middle school. It doesn't take place in middle school, but it's a lot of flashbacks to their friendship back in middle school, and it's a whole murder mystery thing. The ending was all right, but the thing I liked the most was the development of the characters and how they, reflect on their friendship. And last, Secrets for the Mad is by Dodie, a YouTuber. I don't know how much of a YouTuber she is anymore. She is now known for her music. I used to watch her before she produced all her music and everything, but she is the cutest being around, very great, and the book that I just recommended is actually her biography. And the reason why I am recommending a YouTuber memoir, because I feel like that would deter a lot of people, is because I just feel like there's so many aspects of her life that I think people could relate to. And it's not like some cheesy YouTuber type thing where she's talking about her YouTube experience. It's like actual genuine things that people can relate to. I remember reading the table of contents and I was like, wow, this feels like a checklist. I know where she's going, and it was just very touching for me and very personal. And I think even if you haven't watched her videos or don't know who she is, just think of it as a memoir. It's great. And the next color is violet, which stands for spirit. And the two books I chose for this were Autobiography and I need to look at how I wrote the title out because it's long. And Boys and Sex, Young Men on Hookups, Love, Porn, Consent, and Navigating New Masculinity. The first book, Autobiography, Yes, I know the cover is only purple-ish, but bear with me here. But it's about a boy who is bisexual and has to go back into the closet after his family moves. However, he falls in love with a boy, and also he takes this class that has an assignment where he has to write a book, and then he starts borrowing real-life events in this fictional book he's writing, and things go down. There's some drama and questioning and weird feelings and all that. And then the next book, Boys and Sex, is a nonfiction book. It's not specifically about LGBT people, it's about boys, but there is quite a large section about individuals who are in the LGBT community. And I thought it was very interesting. It's taken from like a sociological perspective, and it interviews different men about their experiences of sexuality and like the realities behind it and the expectations and all of that. So if you don't mind a nonfiction book, that one's definitely great. It's very easy to read if you don't usually read nonfiction, and it's super interesting. Lots of fun and disturbing and interesting and questionable things, so check that one out if you are looking for something nonfiction. And lastly is pink, which is no longer on the flag, but it used to mean sexuality. And for this color, I chose the Henna Wars and Black Flamingo. So the Henna Wars is about a girl, she's a lesbian, she comes out to her parents, her Muslim parents don't like that. But regardless, she kind of falls for this girl, except this girl ends up being a rival of hers in a school competition that involves henna, and it's cutesy, it's YA, I think younger audiences could definitely enjoy it too. But yeah, it's cute, it's frustrating, it's good. It's good. In the last book, The Black Flamingo, is about a biracial boy who's never really conformed to traditional gender roles and all of that, and his mom is totally accepting of it, but it's not till he goes to university and finds the drag community that he really discovers who he is. I had mixed feelings about this book. It wasn't my favorite, but that was just because it was nothing I could relate to, but I still want to recommend it because I feel like it's definitely a book that other people would enjoy. It's written in verse, so just keep that in mind. It's pretty quick paced, but it's enjoyable, and I think other people definitely would relate to some of the experiences that the main character had. And those are all of my recs. I'm sorry if they were a bit speedy. I am looking at the time on my video right now. Maybe they weren't as quick as I thought, but hopefully some of those sound interesting to you. And also important, I found my copy of Aristotle and Dante. Look at all those post-its. Yeah, I love this book. Again, I'm in the middle of rereading it. And also, look at my Zuko bookmark. Yeah, he goes right there. Anyways, thank you for watching. Comment down below if there's anything that sounds interesting to you, or if you have your own recs, or if you've read any of these, whatever. Goodbye. I was looking through my... And this leads him to... Oh. So for the love and lies of a... Next.